So have you ever said, oh, she's such a pain in the neck, or he gives me a headache, or my ex makes me sick to my stomach? Well, we might say these things when we feel angry or hurt, and actually it's just human nature to feel angry or hurt sometimes. Thoughts and feelings will always come and go, but the only difference in how it affects us is how we manage it. You see, the problem is that during our lives, we can get into a habit of pushing unwanted feelings such as anger, fear, and sadness. We can push these feelings away without fully processing them. And this is because we can learn as children what's normal or acceptable to society. Now, one of the survival mechanisms that we have as children is to find connection and avoid rejection in order to survive. And if we're taught as children that we can't voice or air our grievances, we can learn that in order to be accepted or loved, we shouldn't express ourselves fully when we need. And this belief is then reinforced throughout the rest of our lives by society. So we're taught to repress and behave in certain ways to be accepted or likable. And we run this belief on autopilot, and repressing, avoiding or ignoring our feelings and emotions, this then becomes second nature, it becomes automatic, it becomes a habit. And so instead of acknowledging, processing and releasing these unwanted feelings in a healthy way, we can bottle them up instead, sometimes for years. Now, naturally, if you're having mysterious aches and pains yourself, it's always advisable to see a doctor. That should always be the first port of call. And this video is not meant to stop people going to see a doctor at all and having traditional treatment. It's more of a discussion of how emotions might be the culprit if you've done everything you can, but can find no explanation for illness or reoccurring pain in the body. So why is it important to release feelings? Well, it's because when we don't process feelings properly, such as anger, shame, guilt, or fear, to name just a few, stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, get released into the body. And these stress hormones are released when we feel stressed, anxious, or angry, etc. And they should just arrive temporarily to help us deal with whatever it is we're dealing with in that moment, the stress or the danger situation. And then once that's over, they should pass in a healthy way. But if they stay in our body, if we bottle these feelings up, and if we're always on, as in always on stress or always on anxious, these hormones hang around in our body, and this can lead to a lack of balance. And it's this imbalance in the body which can lead to aches, pains, and illness. So when we do this over weeks, months, or years, they can cause our body to develop pain, inflammation, and illness. The way to avoid this is to finally accept all of our feelings openly, never disowning or denying or repressing any part of the experience, and to communicate what we're feeling openly. But if we do continue to bottle up our feelings, where might you be sensing these feelings in your body? And some overlap and some combine. It all depends on your character and your personality. And some repressed emotions can be tied more closely to certain areas of the body rather than others. So I'll go through just a few of them now. One of the most common places is the lower back. Another is the stomach and intestines, and anxiety and fear is often closely related to pain in the stomach and intestines. The next is in the head, the neck, the shoulder, voice and throat. So sometimes feelings of not having a voice or feeling oppressed can be felt in the throat, and emotions can also be held in the hips. So with all this being said, is it possible to release these stored emotions? And the answer is yes. I've done it many times with clients, and it's definitely possible to do. This is something I specialize in, and during the session with me, part of the procedure is first to identify and locate the root cause of what's causing this pain, and then we move on to discover the location and the emotion in order to finally let it go. So releasing these feelings can bring a great sense of relief, and past clients that I've worked with have actually had pain that they've been carrying for years, maybe in their chest or their stomach or neck, for instance. It has left their body permanently, and they experience this release or relief as if a weight is being lifted or the pain has left the body. How do we do this? Well, one of the most obvious ways is actually crying and allowing yourself to cry. Often people don't do this this because they don't want to cry because it's been seen as negative or being too emotional. And again, it's all down to that early programming of holding in tears. So some people choose to repress sadness, to move on and focus on something else. But restricting tears is a lot like holding your breath, and when you finally cry, it can come gushing out, equal parts pain and relief. And it's so important to cry, as crying has also been shown to actually lower cortisol, which is the stress hormone in your body. Freeing up bottled sadness is refreshing and liberating, and it's a huge release of emotion, which is often why you might feel tired or relieved afterwards because of that release, but it's so healthy to cry. Now the next is to identify the feeling. So to identify what you're feeling and to find the right location of where you're holding that pain, you can work with a specialist like myself to do this. But you can also try this on your own at home, and I'll go through a very simple method right now. So to start, try writing out or journaling out a situation in the past that might have upset you. So it might be an argument with your partner or a conflict at work. Just identify some instance where you felt emotionally upset. Now close your eyes and really picture what happened as if you were the observer watching this event in your life. And in this moment, ask yourself, what were you feeling in this moment? Did you feel hurt, angry, rejected? Give the feeling a name. Come up with a word that describes the painful experience that you're feeling in this event. Now focus your attention on that word. So the next is we're going to find the location. So now let your attention wander into your body. So become aware of where you're feeling this emotion in your body. And it's the thought in the mind and the physical reaction or sensation in the body. This is what a feeling truly is. And this is why we call it a feeling, because we feel emotions in our bodies. So it might be a pressure in the chest or a sensation of tightness in the stomach. Some feel it as pressure or a lump in their throat. So find where it is in your body that you're feeling and holding the emotional experience. You're only remembering what happened, yet your body is now reacting with muscle contractions, hormonal secretions, and other responses within you. Now these feelings are happening inside your body now as if you remember the pain or as if you're there. So now realize that with just a thought or switching your focus, you have suddenly felt a pain or a physical reaction. So with just a thought you created, this memory, it created a feeling. And with this understanding brings a great deal of power. And you can now start to realize that just as you chose to create this feeling, you have a choice in how you interpret and respond to emotional distress. So recognizing this means you are now recognizing your responsibility in creating your feelings. And this is a really important step because it means that we are now working from the inside out and not the outside in. And so knowing this, you can now let whatever emotional pain you have in your body, you can start to let that go. Now what we can do for the next step is to bring in some breath work. So focus on the part of your body that you're holding the pain. As we said, this might be your stomach, your chest, your neck. It's different for everyone. And where are you feeling this pain? Your brilliant mind knows exactly where you're feeling this pain. And often when I ask people, they actually go straight to the location. Now, with this focus on the feeling and the location of that feeling, take a deep breath in through the nose, a deep breath in, and with a long exhalation of your breath through the mouth, through the belly, pushing out, breathe out with the intention of releasing that tension through the breath. Take another deep breath in through the nose, breathe in as much as you can, and then push out that breath for as long as you can, focusing on all that emotional pain, the negative pain, the hurt pain or the hurt that you're feeling. Push it all out through your mouth. Push it out as much as you can through your stomach. So just for around another 10 breaths, start to feel that emotion leave the body with every breath. Now this is just one way to release built up emotion, and there are many other ways that I've been trained in, but you can use this exercise whenever you feel upset to free yourself from that emotional build up and potential pain that you might be feeling. So I really hope this video helps, and if you'd like to speak to me one-on-one about how I help clients to release that trauma that may have been building up over their life, then contact me using the link below and I'll be happy to speak with you about the method.